this is Karen, Coach's Corner Chats, and on the podcast today, I have Jimmy Fermin. Jimmy, where are you at, and what are you up to?
I'm currently in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I'm just sitting in my house. I've actually been stuck inside all day. I teach and coach at Piedmont High School, and we just went all virtual yesterday. So just kind of picked up around the yard and whatnot, and just taking care of business here. So excited for our game this weekend with my U19 girls team. So kind of looking for guest players there now that COVID's hitting us pretty hard out here in the city.
So, do you coach a girls team at the high school, or is that just what you do in club?
Yeah, so I coach the boys team at high school. And then I actually have two club teams, and they're both girls. I coach the U19 girls team here in OKC for WSA, West Side Alliance. And then I also have a U11 all girls team as well. And it's like kind of their first select ball, I guess you could say. We kind of just combine all the local rec teams around Piedmont, have a little mini tryout, and then start them up there. But yeah, so I do the boys for high school and middle school, I guess, because I'm the head coach for the program at the school itself, and that's all boys. We're not actually allowed to coach boys outside of high school, or I'm not allowed to as a high school coach here in Oklahoma. I think it's to stop recruiting, so I have to stick to the girls side when it comes to club ball.
So you can't even coach boys on the boys side in the select realm.
Correct. Yeah, I have to stay away from all boys side when it comes to select realm, and I also own a little training business too. And I stay away from all the boys as well. I let all the other trainers take them, just so I don't push that boundary. I don't want any he said, she said kind of thing. So just to be on the safe side. And I know other states that the rules different everywhere. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really heard of the rule till I started coaching here. It makes sense, but it also makes, I don't know, it's kind of difficult as well when you in the club world, facing teams, and you hear about the high school coach just coaches that same team through club as well, and they're year round, and this is like you can't beat that chemistry, you know what I mean? And in our sport, chemistry is a big deal.
I would think too, from the flip side, if you're running a club, it's nice to be able to find coaches that have that experience with that age of boy player and what have you, and not being able to select from those kind of makes your slim pickings as to who's going to be the coach.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think oh man, I've been coaching at the high school now for 5 years. I started when I was in college still. I helped out, and we've had new assistants, I think, every year, whether that be a goalie coach or another assistant JV coach or a head coach. There's always been someone new. Even now we've had new coaches in, and I think we've got a good core. I have one of my friends that I graduated college with. I made him my assistant for both the Piedmont boys side and my club assistant coach for both the teams, to kind of get his foot in the door there, and he's a really good coach. And I think we're going to keep him on the girls side. Have another good coach that I think is really good at the boys. So, but like you said, I mean, we had to go out of our way into my, people that I knew personally to find those people. So, yeah, it's interesting for sure. And as you know, coaching girls and boys, it's different. The age groups are different. So finding coaches that are good with certain age groups and genders, you have to experiment. There's only one way to find out, and it's to put them there. So,
That
but
was
yeah, it is interesting.
that was one of the things I was going to ask real quick is what's the dynamic like to go from like a U18, 19 team down to that U11, which is just what's that experience like for you? You have to kind of change your mindset a little bit when you go from one session to another.
Oh, 100%. I love it, actually. I love it so much because at that age group, they just want to have fun. I mean, that's what it is. They're there to play soccer, to see all their friends. They're still in elementary school, so they go to different elementary schools. So they don't see all of their friends. So in soccer, they get to see them all. So I mean, before we even start, they're running around playing tag. There goes all their energy. You know what I mean? So, but it's a blast. And it's interesting too now that I have that different age group, because it was already, my first year it was kind of a struggle when I had to really sit down and kind of look at how I was coaching each side with the with the boys high school team and then my U19 girls team. That's already a difference. And then now I'm added another day with the U11s girls. On Tuesdays, I do all three of them. I do the boys high school, then the U11 little ones, and then the U19 older ones right after. And so, just that flip in mindset, it's interesting. It's hard at first, but once you get it going, once you get the rhythm right, and once you know how each team is, their personalities on each team, it can be a blast. You know what I mean? So with the boys high school, obviously with the varsity side, that who I'm normally with, right, for the majority of the time, it's a bit more serious. Um, with the U19 girls side, they girls just want to have fun, but at the same time they have to know when to focus in, So if I can keep I have to really explain a lot more with the U19 girls. They have to understand why they're doing what they're doing, and if they understand it, then they'll give you everything they have. And I do like that a lot. There's not a lot of egos like there is with the boys side. The boys think they know it all. The girls are there like sponges, and then the U11s, that's just the playing around. We have the most simplest drills. It's all technical. It's back to the basics, and I love it. I love going back to the basics. It's what I try to push even whenever with the older groups, and just keeping it really fun and simple, and it's just laughs everywhere, and it's funny because there's so many more light bulbs that you can turn on that they haven't found yet, or reached yet with those U11s. I mean, they're learning so many new things, so it's just really cool to see it. And I think they love it too. I mean, just the other day, my assistant Tom and we were talking, and they were crossing by themselves. It's the first time they've done it by themselves. Like we've been working crosses back and forth. Like, okay, now we get it on the one side. Here's a big ball. Learning how to hit the ball farther than 10 yards was a big deal. So, and once they start doing it, it's like, oh my gosh, like the little things that we celebrate that I would never think I'd celebrate coaching the older groups. You know what I mean? So I love it. It's a really good way to end the day for sure.
You talked about being at the high school for 5 years now. What are some of the things that you look back on, and like when you started the program, what were some of the things that you went into the high school program and said, hey, I like to get, these two or three things to be kind of consistent and lay the groundwork for where you're at now?
Yeah, so I think I was really fortunate. Like I said, I was actually the girls' assistant coach first, my junior year of college and senior year. So I was fortunate to kind of see that program from the side, from an outside view, and kind of watch what they were doing. I think they've always had some pretty good talent. They've had good athletes for the most part, and I just felt like there wasn't a true identity. And I think the players knew how they wanted to play. The coach had an idea of how they wanted to play. I just felt like the execution wasn't always there for every game. So some of the first things that I did going in was laying down the ground rule of this is who we're going to be, this is how we're going to be that, and here's how we're going to play, like finding a true style of play for us. It took a lot of buying in, and we had a lot of team meetings about buying in. I started team leadership meetings every Monday, and we still do that now. And by the end of that first year, I think I had almost half of my varsity team all there. And I where at first it was just juniors and seniors, and then the sophomores asked if they could show up. I said, why not? It's just a team leadership meeting. So the more of them that can be involved, and feel like they have that ownership of the team, hopefully the quicker they buy in. And I think that's exactly what happened. So that first year, that's exactly what it was. It was kind of creating an identity. I always preach, if you treat the game right, the game will treat you back. And we changed a couple of the boys' positions at two wingers that became, let's say, fullbacks. And we had some good individual discussions on those players too, because they were like, Coach, I want to score goals, and it was I think you're going to be better here for the team, and I think you can show more and prove more, and if you really want to go to the next level, I think this is where you're going to be. At least showcase your skills to the best of your ability. And so yeah, it was interesting. It was a patient thing for sure. And I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing. It might have been a good thing. I think we had 3 games in that first season, 2019, 2020, and then COVID hit. And so, we were we actually had a compliment from the Enid team here in Oklahoma, Enid, Oklahoma, and a really respected coach. And he came to me after the game that first year and was like, Coach, I really see the boys look like they have an idea of what they want to do now, and like it's looking really good. So that was awesome to hear from another coach, you know. And then COVID hit, so it was just, you know, the focus from playing one way just became more of just let's be a team, let's look after each other. You know, we did a lot of mental health stuff via Zoom, and you know, just working outside. Second year comes around, those boys are closer than ever, and which was last year, and yeah, it just ended up being a great year. The buy-in was unbelievable. I thought it would be a 3 to 4 year process before I had all the boys buying in, you know. But no, I think last year they all bought in. We were very successful off the field and on the field. I think GPA wise, we were very high. I think we were like third in the state. We didn't win it, but it was very good for Piedmont. And because you know we talked about focusing on the little things as well, right? And we brought the first silverware home for the Piedmont men's program. We got second in our Choctaw tournament, and then we also finished the highest that the boys program has ever finished in the district at second. We actually had our final game was against the first place team, went down to PK, so that was really cool. That was fun, and it was good for the boys, I think, to see that success. You know, the girls program has always been very successful. They've made playoffs every year. It's just a really good girls program that we have here. And so the boys have always been kind of overshadowed by that, you know? And so it was good for as a program, as a soccer program whole, for us to both be success. I think we ended on the same record. So, and that's
Hmm.
never happened, you know? And so, and I'm really good friends with the girls coach as well. I think that helps as well because we work very well together. You know, he misses a day, I take over the girls as well. We work together. I miss a day, he does the same for me. So it's a really good bond. I think, like I said, I was very fortunate to be there under him, under the girls coach first, and see the boys program, you know, and the first goal was just to get the boys to buy in to me, you know, to for them to trust me and believe in me. Actually, funny enough, one of my plans to help that happen was when we did our preseason fitness and runs and everything. I did everything with them. So luckily, I was just out of college, so I was still in shape. But I did everything with them, every workout, everything. So I led the pack. They followed. So it's funny after I had surgery, they still do. They joke around. They're like, Coach, I'll race you. I'll race you. Know I'm faster than you than I was freshman year and all that. But I can't move like I did before. So
And what's the dynamic of also being a teacher? Is that like a bonus? How does that work into the equation of being a coach at the high school?
yeah, so actually, this is my first year. I think I'm really starting to see the benefit of that. I was previously I was hired on as a middle school teacher. Excuse me. So that's a building maybe about 3 or 4 minutes away from the high school, and so I never got to see my boys. They would actually, if we had any meetings, they would come to me on their 0 hour or lunchtime, and they would come to the middle school during my plan period or whatever that is, or lunch, and talk to me there. So this year, so then that was a bit frustrating. It was hard. It was difficult. I was always rushing to the field house before practice to get things set up. You know, now I'm at the high school, and I love it because in the halls now I say hi to I make it a point to say hi to every boy. It's something that we talk about in the leadership meeting as well, is to just, you know, just say hi. You see somebody that's in this locker room, you say hi to them, you know. So I make it a point to say hi to every boy, see how they're doing, ask them how their day is, maybe crack a little joke here and there, whatever that be. The boys can eat lunch in my room, so just to help build that chemistry and help. I think it really helps me become more approachable than just being a club coach, right? Because then they only see me at practice when it's practice time, and then it's game time. You know, unless we're at a tournament, that's the only time they'd see me out of those intense situations. You know, whereas when I'm a teacher, I mean, it's let me hear about your day and talk to me about what's going on. You know, well, you were absent. I noticed you didn't walk by yesterday, man. Where were you? You know what happened? And they'll tell me about their dentist appointment or whatever it is. You know, they'll show me a funny meme or something. So it's really cool to be approachable and to hear more. I think it gives me a bigger effect on their life than just being a coach. You know, and I get to hit them in a different point. So I really do like that. I feel a lot more involved into their personal lives. Um, and I feel like I can help them more than just out there on the practice field, being the teacher. So I do like that a lot. I really am liking it right now. This is by far my favorite year for teaching and coaching for sure. And it's already been hard with COVID, but I've really liked it this year. So
What caused you while in college to start getting the coaching itch? Like what brought you to say, I might want to go into coaching, and then got you to the point where you're at now?
yeah, well, I've actually always liked coaching. Uh, Man, from a young age, my sister started playing when she was young. My dad coached her team, so that's when it all started. I would help him, and there's my favorite picture is actually of my dad. He's at the dinner table, and I'm over him like pointing at a little whiteboard, and we're talking about formations. So I've always liked coaching growing up. Maybe like at age 10, 11, with her little 3v3, 4v4, whatever it is that age, and then when she was in U12, I became the team trainer, so we just worked on the basic stuff, passing, receiving, crossing, and 1v1 moves, ball mastery was a big one. And then that's whenever I started doing individual trainings, some privates, and getting small pay here and there, started reffing as well. So just kind of seeing a different side of that game was nice. It was fun. I continued coaching all the way through. And then high school came around, and I always felt like I always had a part in what we did at the high school level. I was a captain at the high school level. The coach asked me a lot, or for my opinion a lot of the times, and asked, what I thought about this and that. So that was cool to kind of have that insight, of what we're gonna do or why we were doing what we were doing, before any of the boys knew, and I could help explain that as well. And then college hit, and as I said, I've always liked coaching. So I decided, I'm out here in Oklahoma, and I'm actually from Marble Falls, Texas, near the Austin area. So up in college, I didn't have any of the people that knew what I did. Right, I'm 6.5, 7 hours away now, so kind of had to create my own, my build up my name again. Right, so it was started a small LLC, and started doing small privates at the college, and that was fun. It was good. Had a small facility out that I shared with the goalkeeper coach, so that was a good time, right before COVID. And then and while that was going on, I was still playing, and the assistant coach at SCU, who's a good friend of mine now, Seth Nix, he actually assisted at Piedmont as well. And so he told me, "Hey, Jimmy, I think you're a good person. I trust you. I think you're very mature for your age. Would you like to, possibly apply for the Piedmont assistant girls job to Coach Brucker was his name?" I said, "Yeah, sure." Applied there. Funny enough, my good friend Reese Cook also applied for that job, and we both got hired on. He got the keeper position, and I got the girls assistant coach position. And so we would carpool there from junior year to senior year, and doing that kind of really just it was like a just shot off the career. You know what I mean? I started really falling in love with it. Early that first year, I thought I was just going to be an assistant coach. The coach ended up he let me do like a 2 or 3 sessions that first week, and was like, "You know what, Jimmy, I was looking for a JV head coach. Why don't you just be the JV head coach and my assistant varsity coach?" Like all four. So I ended up taking that. So now I have my own team. That was a big deal to me. My first time to have my own team, junior in college. So that was awesome. And then that created a lot more business for the LLC, and then and it also became a lot more personal as well. So then it was like, okay, well, now this is less for me and more for you guys. It's my team, right? And then we're doing privates after as well. So basically doing it's like $20, right? Is paying for my meals and gas to get to Piedmont is what it was, $20, and they would put my business name on the big board during games. So it was a win-win to me, right? And so yeah, after that, we did that for the 2 years, and my senior year of college, I think, was whenever I really, going into that senior year, I think I just loved it so much my junior year of college that going into my senior year, I thought, this is what I want to do. Like I love playing, but I really love coaching. So I think that's when I knew what I wanted to do. I knew where my path was going to be, and told my parents as well. And they said, that's why you went to. We knew you love soccer anyways. That's the whole point. We push you to go to college is to find a way to make money doing what you love. And if that's coaching, then do it. So I was very fortunate. They had my back all the way through it. Graduated college, did the emergency certification. Um, and when I graduated, the head coach for the boys side ended up going to administration. Couldn't do both, and so I applied for it. And I luckily they already knew me. I was a familiar face, and I think four interviews later, and I ended up getting the job. So and it's been a blessing for sure, and that's why I think networking is huge. At the end of the day, when you go all the way back to it, it's who I knew. If I didn't know my assistant coach close, if I didn't have his trust, right, if I wasn't a good person in front of him, I would have never been offered that opportunity, and who knows where I'd be at today. So um, yeah, I'm big fan of networking. I think we have to network everywhere I go. I'm always still trying to network. Anyone I meet, I'm trying to befriend. So it's a big deal. But yeah, junior year of college, that's when I decided I'm gonna coach. This is what I'm gonna do, and I've been shooting for it ever since. And that's how I started the club team as well there in Piedmont. So
The one thing too that I loved, you earlier talking about like leadership and all that type of stuff, and the things that you've already just discussed about your journey about stepping out, creating your own company, to connecting with people. And you said they knew you when they hired you, and they knew what of you, and knew you were quality, respectful, all those kind of good things. Those are those character things that you're trying to bring to your Piedmont uh, program that you talked about earlier. The other thing was how important were those long drives to and from when you first started out? Were those times where the two of you, your buddy that you was also coaching, that you guys just bounced ideas off of the whole time, or was it a lot of quiet time? What was that like?
no, yeah, that's well, yeah, first, absolutely, yeah. That's why I push it so hard. I tell the boys all the time, we could win the state final, or we could lose every game. But if you guys can graduate here and be good human beings and help the society, then I've done my part, So, and I hope that I can lead through example, right? And then the second part there, yeah, every drive I have to give him credit. Reese Cook, I mean, part of why I went in and did what I needed to do, and knew kind of how to say a head start on what the boys side at Piedmont needed, as far as discipline and everything, came from him, because he would just say, "Oh, Jimmy," and we get in my little Jeep, we start driving. "Oh, Jimmy, today practice was so bad. This kid did that kid did this, or these kids can't do such and such." So it was always bouncing back and forth. And obviously, like I said, the girls program historically have always been really good, very successful. So he'd come in, shaking his head. Sometimes it'd be like 5 minutes of silence, and then he'd look at me, and "How was your day at practice?" I'd say, "Oh, mine was good. Yeah, the girls did this and that. How about yours?" "Oh man," he starts shaking his head. So no, we are still bouncing ideas off each other. He's awesome. He's my head JV coach now. So um, yeah,
Nice.
still always bouncing ideas. I trust him. He's really good he's a very good, I think, solid JV head coach as far as just connecting with the boys. He connects so well. So all the boys love him. Um, so that's awesome. But yeah, just that's funny you talk about the drive. Yeah, I'm just thinking of all the discussions that we've had. It was always just bouncing ideas and bouncing stories, and then we would always say, what would you do? What would you do if you're the head coach? And we would discuss that on both the boys and the girls side. Or what did you think about his decision to do this and that during such and such game? So it was really fun and entertaining and funny to think how, like, at that time, we didn't know we'd be where we are now, So, and now we are the head coach, and now we can make those decisions. And I'm sure our assistants are going home and saying the same thing, So it's, but no, those are good times though. Absolutely. And I think those drives were needed too, because without that, I wouldn't know what to do with that boy program. Who knows what I would have tried to do. And so
What
it
was the
definitely had.
what was the dynamic like, being the quote unquote trainer of your sister's team? What was that dynamic of that's your sister? How did that kind of, did it affect the sibling type thing when you're at home? Were you able to like stop being kind of trainer brother, or and how was that? And how did she end up going? Like, did her progression as a player go really well?
Yeah, I think I definitely take a lot of blame for where she's at now. She ended up quitting soccer. Obviously, I was very young, 12, 13, 14. So at first, it was good. My sister and I were very competitive growing up. My father and mother, they believe in competition. They're big believers in competition, and that you have to have competition to succeed in life. That's just my dad's always said that in the work field. You have to know how to compete. So we weren't allowed to not do anything. We had to do something. So obviously she did soccer. I did soccer. I was already, it's a small community, Marble Falls, where I grew up. So I was good in my own little town, and so everyone that lived in that area already knew me, and all of her friends had older sisters or brothers that knew me as well. So all of her friends knew me. Like I said, at first when they were young, it was good. She would listen to me and everything, and then as she got older, it started to become she'd call me Jay. It'd be Jay. Jay, don't tell me what to do. Jay, stop. So I think I embarrassed her a little bit. I can definitely say I was a bit too hard on her, and I think it's part of my learning. She was part of my learning experience as well, and I think I learned from that as well. I think I was very hard on her. I think my name always came up with her success is like, yeah, you did this, but I did such and such. And when I went off to college, she quit soccer completely, and then she joined swimming. We had some discussions there. I really wanted her to do soccer, obviously, because I loved it. She was really good at it. I mean, an amazing defender, aggressive, mean. Like she did not care who she put down on the ground as long as she won that ball. So I loved watching her play. My family loved it, but like I said, my family didn't allow us to do nothing. So she ended up doing swimming, and she was great at that as well. Never swum before. Did competitive swimming. Ended up making the first team the first year. She only did it for 2 years. Quit that as well. So I think as a whole, as a family, we were too competitive for her liking. She was really talented. She was an athlete, but she just wanted to do it just to have fun. She didn't really want to compete. And I think we were too hard. I know I was too hard on her with that aspect because, it's like, you can do this and this. I would take notes. Even her swimming competition, I would ask her, why did they do this? Okay, why didn't you do that? So um, yeah, and like I said, I learned from that definitely. And at a young age, it was really good, but I think I was too much about, I had to say, soccer and winning at a young age, and I pushed that on her as well. So, and I think it was just too early, too soon, and I think that's why we see kids burn out nowadays too. I was that parent that was always on her back. She never got a compliment from me. It was always, you can do better. So I take that blame for sure. And we learn from it like anything else, right? So
You talked about too, the picture of you and your dad doing the whiteboard and what have you. How impactful was it, not only like working with your sister, but being alongside your dad during those early days coaching, and even now hearing that both your parents said, "Hey, we wanted you to go figure out what you wanted to do. We completely support you." How big of a impact has that been on where you're at now and your coaching?
I think it's huge. I don't think I realized it at the time. But yeah, now that I look back on it, it was huge. Actually, so my dad was never my coach growing up, until, let's see, I was a U10. I played up early on. When I was a U10, I ended up playing up and a U12 and select ball, and it was good. I played on some big teams, and they all had their special coaches and whatnot. By the time I was in high school, those teams started falling apart. Players started going to bigger clubs farther away, and I know there's a big club in Texas called Lone Stars. And I remember I got a letter from there, and a bunch of players on our team got letters from there. And it was quite a bit of money though, and we just didn't have that money. And it was and my parents, I remember them telling me, if you really want to do this, you have to go raise that money. So, and I think I tried. I was also a very shy boy at a very young age. So I did what I thought was good, and just didn't raise enough. So at that time, we stayed at the local club, and my dad just coached it. So he said, what, at anyone that age group, we went back down to just select ball instead of Division 2, Division 3, whatever it is. We just went straight down to the bottom, and just pulled up any right player at that age group that still wanted to play, and we played. So, and we played all the way till I was a senior in high school. Actually, now that I look back at it, that last team that we had was all my friends, so that we played high school together too as well. So that team ended up getting better. um but but yeah, without my dad and my mom being so supportive, I don't think I would have continued to play club ball, because everyone else went somewhere else. There was always bigger and better. And I think because of them, they showed me that, you can do that and have that success and create that better here. The grass isn't greener on the other side, it's greener where you water it, right? So I think they really taught me that lesson. And like I said, at the time I didn't know any better. But now looking back at it, absolutely, my dad still to this day, I'll create something or think of a really good idea, and they're the first person I call.
Hmm.
And I'll ask him, what do you think about this? What would you do as a coach? And my mom, I have to give her full support. She is all about soccer. She's that soccer mom, that typical soccer mom, yelling, screaming, and doesn't really know the rules yet. So she'll still say the wrong things, but we all agree with her because you don't disagree with mom.
Hmm.
But no, it's been really good. And they were, as a community as a whole in Marble Falls, they're known as the soccer family. At high school, soccer's not at my old high school where I graduated. Soccer wasn't very huge. Like I said, there's one club there. It's all football, American football, sorry. And so yeah, the stands maybe had like 3 or 4 parents there. And my family was the one that had the purple wrestling Mexico masks on,
Ooh.
with a drum made out of a bucket and wooden sticks that my dad would beat the whole game. So we were the soccer family, you know what I mean? And it was cool. It was really good. And all the boys, all of my friends that I graduated with, they loved my parents because they went to every game. They gave all of them rides to club games. As my dad was the coach, and we had half the team with us, and we would go to games together, go eat after, and then go home, whether that be a loss or win. And it's interesting looking back at it, and they are literally the reason why I'm as positive as I am, and I am who I am, obviously. But no, they definitely, without them, I mean, who knows where I'd be. I might have not even been continued to play club ball, or dreamed of playing college ball or whatever that be. So
So, talking about dreams, here you are. You just said enjoying this year in terms of teaching, in terms of the coaching, love the like chemistry and the family kind of bond that you're building with the Piedmont program. What's your kind of future outlook? Do you continue to grow the training program and build that up? Are there aspirations to maybe go bigger? Would there any be aspirations to maybe coach college or beyond? Or are you just kind of like just going to take it where I'm at now, and like you said, keep watering the grass where I'm at?
yeah, that's an interesting question, actually. That's in the talks as of today. This 20, what are we at, 2022, right? So 2021, I was just last year I was the girls assistant coach for the college SCU just up the road in Bethany, Oklahoma. So I was the assistant coach there, so that was something new for me as well. And I think that is the dream. I do want to coach at the college level. um, I want to continue learning and keep kind of growing and reaching as high as I can. Um, but at the same time, I don't know when to make that jump. Like I said, I was the assistant this year as a volunteer. They couldn't pay me. I got asked to assist, but I was still teaching, obviously teaching and coaching, so I couldn't just leave that job. So the coach just asked me, "You are more than welcome to come out whenever you want." So I did all the preseason with them. I went to some of their games in Kansas and helped drive the van and all that, just to kind of get the foot in the door and see what that's all about, you know. And I really love that. And I'll probably volunteer again if I don't go anywhere. And I've also had options to go to Pflugerville, Texas, and teach and coach there, or back to Marble Falls, Texas. And but at the same time, it's taken me 5 years to get to where I'm at here in Oklahoma City. I don't want to settle so soon, you know, but I've I'd like to say I had a part in kind of building the identity of the men's soccer program at Piedmont. I started my small business here in Oklahoma City, and I started two club teams here in Piedmont, Oklahoma. So for me, those are really big stepping stones for me. Those are kind of like my babies, you know, those are my kids. So I just want to see those out and see how big I can make those. I want to continue doing another two clubs on the boys and girls side there at Piedmont. Now that I have, I started with one 3 years ago, and now I have two as of this year. So I want to keep building those teams up from the young age. And that way that can start feeding into the high school program. That way those kids are playing at a young age all the way through, you know? So I don't know. Like I said, it's in the talks. It's funny enough, all the boys were surprised that I came back this year. For some reason, I don't know why. I never said anything, but they thought I was leaving. They thought, oh, coach is going to a bigger school now. We did all this and that. So that's not how high school coaching works. You know, they don't go recruiting everyone. So, but yeah, no, I do want to reach to coach college, and possibly beyond, but I don't think this is the end game, but I don't know when I'm going to pull that trigger, because I am enjoying it a lot right now. I think life is very really good right now where I'm at. And I think I've started a lot of things here, and I kind of just want to see those through a bit longer, you know, and see where I can build those until at least I know when I leave that's going to continue. You know, I feel like if I leave now, those club teams are no longer going to be a thing, you know. So here in Oklahoma, the club soccer realm is weird. So I want to make sure we keep that going, and I want to make sure the boys program stays successful, you know. And I want to continue helping the college coach that allowed me to volunteer this last year. You know, he's a really good guy. So just little things here and there, small relationships that I've made here in Oklahoma City that I think have really boosted me in this career field and in coaching, you know. So I want to kind of give back. I think it's my time to give back for a bit.
I think it's cool because you mentioned earlier about networking being so important, from like buddies that you played with to even now, like you said, just being connected with the college, or and just having your hands in so many different kind of like what do you cookie jars within the Oklahoma City area, like the soccer landscape is so stinking cool. How was it that you went about and got that the volunteer spot with SCU? Did you just kind of reach out, or how did that conversation kind of come up that landed you that opportunity? And I'm talking to more and more coaches that they're at some point in their coaching career, they've had to do things at the volunteer level. They've had to give up their time. Like even you said, when I started out early, I was making enough just to, put money or put food in my mouth. How did it come about that you had that opportunity to even be a part of a college environment?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I don't know if I mentioned it around him. I know the coach was around some of our tournaments that I took the U19 girls team to. That SU coach was there, and he'd ask me who to look at, whatever. And I'd give him their profile, and he'd watch their games. I don't think I ever mentioned to him though that I wanted to coach at a college level. But it has always been a dream for me. I know I've told my friends, and I was working out. It was about, man, it was about, let's say 5 p.m., 6 p.m. after dinner, just working out, and I get a call. It's from unknown number. I didn't have it saved at the time, and so I answered it, say hello, question mark, and yeah, he just straight up asked me, what are you doing this next year? And said, are you going to be here in town? I said, yes, I'm still coaching and teaching at Piedmont. I said, would you like to be an assistant coach at SCU? And so I remember just thinking, oh my gosh, like, yes, I do want to be an assistant coach. Absolutely, that's my dream. And he laid it all out to me. This is what we can do. I had to hang up there. I think I called my parents. I called my girlfriend and I called my sister as well, and I was ecstatic, you know what I mean, so excited. And then, come back to earth, and it was like, okay, these are the duties that I have right now. And as far as time goes, and the time just didn't work out. I had to be with the high school group at the time that he was going to do training. He couldn't push that back because of the girls that work. So it just wasn't going to work out. So I was very apologetic, and then very sad at the time. And he was like, no. And he just told me, I think you're a really good coach. I think you're a good person. I think you care about the program in SCU. I know you graduated here, but the little bit that I've seen, the connections that you can make. And he's like, I trust you around the girls, and I'd love to help you grow. So if you would like to come out and volunteer at any point, just know you're always welcome. So I just told him, send me your schedule for preseason, and I'll be there, So before high school started. And that's what I did. Every game that they had that I could make, I went to. And all of preseason, the 5 a.m. 3 days that he had, I was there. So um, it was all him. He took the first step and reached out to me. So I think I was just really lucky. I was at the right place at the right time. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he called 5 other guys before me, and they all said no. I don't know what it was, but very fortunate. So.
Jimmy, this has been awesome. I've really enjoyed, because you're young. So I'm super excited just to kind of follow your soccer journey. I think you're doing amazing things. Just sounds like with Piedmont, and then just all these little opportunities that are there. If people want to connect with you and maybe follow up because they're at the same kind of age, or I'm in college now and I'd love to get into coaching, what's in some easy ways to connect with you?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm on Facebook, just Jimmy Fermin, Fermin, or Twitter. Obviously, I'm on Twitter. I think it's Coach. I have to look at Coach _ J Fermin. And then yeah, just I mean, if you just search my name, I think that's all I have. I don't have Instagram, so it's just Facebook and Twitter. I mean, more than welcome to reach me there, or my email. It's just my first name, Jimmy dot my last name, Fermin, Fermin, at piedmontschools.org. And but yeah, I mean, anyone that wants to reach out, I'm always happy to talk or to help, or to just listen. I mean, I like I said, I love networking. I feel like that's what we have to do, and this sport's growing. We're here in America, in the States, but we have to kind of have each other's back, so.
Right on. Hey, this has been so awesome. I'm going to go ahead and shut this thing down. This is Kieran, Coach's Corner Chats with Jimmy Fermin, and I'm out. Peace.